I didn't raise rent at all for over 8 years.
Do you charge less than corporate owners?
I do.
We're all mom and pops, so very small.
Our tenants now have more rights to our property than we do.
And the housing market is actually getting tighter and tighter.
Cancel the rent debt.
No pay, no rent. That was one of the rallying cries at today's May Day caravan.
When a mom and pop chooses to sell, we're losing some of our naturally affordable housing and seeing rents going up.
I'm out. I'm never going to have another tenant in this county again.
The threats are generally overblown.
This is not a luxurious apartment. No new hardwood floors or in-unit washer and dryer. But here's the thing. Apartments like this are hidden gems to a lot of people who need housing. And in this rental market, they're at risk of disappearing.
Hi, Hillary Davis. I live here in West Oakland. I'm an owner-occupied landlord, or was an owner-occupied landlord.
Hillary Davis says for years she rented to people who couldn't pass a typical application process.
All of my tenants were either had horrible credit or had more pets than any apartment would take in. Beautiful living room.
But as the saying goes,
new windows.
No good deed goes unpunished. Davis is quitting the California rental business.
That's it, I'm out. I'm never gonna have another tenant in this county again, in this city again.
And it's not because of the tenants, it's because of local politicians, she says. Specifically, the city of Oakland removing owner-occupied tenant protection exemptions in 2019.
They just don't get the responsibility, even though most of council owns their own homes. Why are they not renting out a room to the homeless?
Do you charge less than corporate owners?
I do.
Some are below $900 a month.
Properties owned by small landlords like Hillary and Sigi Tadakoro are called naturally occurring affordable housing, or NOAA. Although there's no strict definition, NOAA is generally understood by housing researchers and advocates to be older, affordable rentals that operate without government subsidies. In San Jose, Tadakoro's rentals have stayed below market value for nearly 4 decades because, well, he had a family and another full-time job and just not enough time to upgrade.
I didn't raise rent at all for over 8 years. I wasn't all that altruistic. I just didn't want to work that much in terms of fixing the, empty units.
Tadakoro is 90.
Then we're going to put in the quartz counters here.
The future of his reasonable rates is unclear. He says he can't imagine starting out as a small landlord now.
In a way, I'm not managing these properties. The city is managing it. They're telling me what to do.
The pandemic pushed government officials to keep tenants housed at all costs.
Expand, eviction, protection.
While regulators banned evictions and strengthened tenant protections, some property owners say that made it easier for small landlords to be taken over.
I don't know them. I don't even know their names. So they are trespassing on my property.
We may end up doing a foreclosure.
Just emotional that, this has turned out to be such a nightmare.
These are some of the housing horror stories I've been hearing about for years now. Small owners saying they're struggling to keep their properties. They represent a bigger portion of the affordable housing market than you might think.
We have lost our peace of mind.
Of the rental stock in California, about half are in smaller structures, and about half of those are owned by mom and pops.
This is Ben Metcalf. He's a leader in housing policy who's worked in federal and state government. He's now in charge of UC Berkeley's Turner Center, a respected source for affordable housing research.
There's definitely more small landlords who are looking to sell. What I'm worried about is just that the mom and pops are getting out and they're turning it over to the institutional investors.
Why should a renter care?
Well, I think we should just be mindful of the implications of more and more of our housing stock moving to professional and institutional owners. They are going to optimize to get the maximum rents they can.
Researchers say investor activity skyrocketed during the pandemic, particularly targeting low-income areas. When big investors take over, let's say Hillary or Sigi's properties, that naturally affordable housing goes away and likely never comes back.
What our survey results showed is that in a typical year, a small mom and pop owner, about 3% of the time, they'll be looking to sell. Just whatever reason, their life changes. During the pandemic, our survey shows that number shot up to 13%.
The threats are generally overblown.
Dan Kalb is an Oakland City Council member. His city and county have some of the strictest tenant protection laws in California. What is the one message you would want to tell small landlords who say government policies are pushing them out of the rental business?
What's the alternative? The alternative is they want themselves to be exempt from the laws. It's a shame that some of those landlords are selling those properties to big corporations, but that's a choice they're making.
It's our fault because we decided to own property in these neighborhoods and try to invest in the community. It's our fault for the housing crisis? Piss off. Like, just really.
If we don't have enough housing, let's just build more. If only it were that easy. In the next episode of Overpriced, Overwhelmed, Over It, the frustrating reason California still can't build the affordable housing it needs. There are hundreds of projects and thousands of units that are shovel ready, that are essentially sitting there.
It's not acceptable.
Watch the episode on NBCBayArea.com/overpriced or on our app on Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Fire TV.